Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord. Praise ye the Lord.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us.
The only deliverance the other nations are going to get is deliverance right into slavery. They're going to be our slaves, thus saith the Lord.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us. Why? God, why?
Jeremiah 30:16 tells you every last one of the other nations, which are non-Israelites, are going into captivity. They're going into slavery underneath the Israelites when the Israelites go back into rulership. When is the Israelites going to go back into rulership? When the Lord comes. That's what he's coming to do. He's coming to set up the Israelites in rulership, beginning with King David. And when I say rulership, meaning the planet Earth, we're going to be ruling the planet Earth in righteousness. After he puts down the wicked. Who's the wicked? The Edomites, which are in power right now. Who are the Edomites? The so-called white man.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us. Why? God, why?
Praise the Lord, for he is greatly to be feared. He removed the wicked and put us righteous in power.
To victory and the dawn of a new era.
And when I say rulership, meaning the planet Earth, we're going to be ruling the planet Earth in righteousness. After he puts down the wicked. Who is the wicked? The Edomites, which are in power right now. Who are the Edomites? The so-called white man.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord Yahweh. Praise ye the Lord.
Beginning with those top banking families, which happen to be so-called white people. We're talking about the Rothschilds, Rockefellers. We're talking about the DuPonts. We're talking about the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, and families like that. Okay, so when Yahushua comes back, he's going to take away their rulership, which they're enjoying right now. That's the long and short of it, of this ministry, man.
Pace, James. I need 200 pounds by sunset.
Yes, sir. I'm on it, Master.
Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
Praise the Lord, for he is greatly to be feared. He removed the wicked and put us righteous in power.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutations to the whole flick out there pushing his word and truth and their sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful leg, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right. And what I want to get into this morning and dealing with news and prophecy, is, say goodbye, all right, to democracy. Okay. And, all the old privileges, okay, all the rights and, things of, the Constitution, where those things, okay, are being destroyed right before your eyes. All right. And with this Donald Trump character, the elites, are using, all right, this devil, to tear apart, all right, this democracy, that America, once had, which at the end of the day, it was always corrupted, You know, the people never really, truly had power. All right. But there was certain perks, and privileges, that people had on the democracy. Okay. So that illusion of a democracy is now being stripped away. Okay. And what we're seeing with this Trump character, they allow him to do whatever he wants to do. You know, he's not, your typical president. Okay. And just as, the spirit, is revealing, this man is an ancient Caesar coming back. And he moving in the spirit of a Caesar. Okay. Is they having these No King Day protests, this No King movement. Well, he's a king. All right. This man is operating as a king. There's not too many things left, that stands in his way. Okay. As far as checks and balances. Okay. With other parts of the government. All right. The elites have unleashed this man. All right. To do what needs to be done. All right. To transition into this new order. All right. That the elites want to set up in the earth. Okay. And this Donald Trump character has been tasked with dismantling, okay, the old world of America, the old democracy. Okay. Or you call it republic or whatever you want to call it. Well, that's being dismantled right before your eyes. Okay. Now I want to go into a few precepts. All right. Then I got a couple videos I want to go into, just to show you. All right. At this point, he's doing exactly what he wants to do. Okay. This is the book of Isaiah 14:4. Okay. It says, "You will taunt, all right, the king of Babylon." This is the NLT. "You will say, the mighty man has been destroyed. Yes, your insolence is ended." All right. So that's one of the beautiful things. It's one of the comforters of the scriptures. Because as this devil is doing all these things, all right, and all the wickedness that he plans on doing, well, we are comforted by, all right, this man being ended. All right. This man's rulership has an end. This man's authority in the earth has an end. Okay. Everything that he set up to oppress is going to be ended. Okay. At the coming of our power. Okay. Which is going to be via who? Yahweh Shai. Okay. So this man is boasting and, he's throwing his weight around. Okay. As if, he'd never be moved. The scriptures speak about that. Okay. We know that this man has an end, and this is our comfort. All right. It said for the Lord. All right. Yahweh Shem Shai has crushed your wicked power and broken your evil rule. Okay. This man has an evil rule. This man's rulership is evil, is wicked, is unjust. Okay. He's a criminal. All right. That's in rulership, man. Okay. He's a thief. All right. And a manslayer. You see, that's in rulership. It says, "You struck the people with endless blows of rage and held the nations in your angry grip with unrelenting tyranny." Okay. And for the longest, the devil has been able to parade himself, as, the moral standards of the earth. Just everything that he was doing was for the sake of being a hero for humanity. He was doing what needed to be done for the well-being of everyone. And for the longest, he's been able to run with that narrative, man. Okay, but now that narrative is dead. And what this devil truly is about, has been about, okay, has now been exposed. Okay, this man has been wicked, all right, from the jump, man, from the Renaissance until now. All right, this man, okay, has been pure wicked. Okay. And now we're in the time, all right, there's an uproar, all right, throughout the earth about this man's, okay, rulership. You go to Proverbs, all right, 28. And we'll get into the video. It says, "A wicked ruler is dangerous to the poor, all right, is as dangerous to the poor as a roaring lion and attacking bear." And this man rules as a predator. You see, when you go into a ruler, all right, a ruler is supposed to complement, okay, the people that he's ruling. Okay, his decision making is supposed to advance life in his kingdom. Okay, but this devil is the exact opposite, man. He devours the people that he rules over. He sets his people up for failure that he rules over. Okay, he just come and takes what he wants, doesn't have a regard or inheritance and a generation to come. He just comes and destroys. Okay, like a predatory animal, man. Because you go into the lion and the bear, they rip their prey apart, and this is what this devil does. He just rips the people that he's ruling over. He treats them as prey. Okay, it says a ruler with no understanding will oppress his people, but one who hates corruption will have long life. And this is a ruler with no understanding. Okay, he doesn't understand what it means, all right, to be in rulership and righteousness, man. Okay, he has no understanding of righteousness. Okay, which makes him by default, all right, oppressive, to the earth, man. You see, and this is why we see now, there's a commotion, okay, yeah, from every side. All right, whether you got conflict with other nations, or whether the working classes rising up against this devil. Okay, but now there's a cry, all right, to remove okay this tyrant. You see, so let's go here now. This is dealing with what's going on in Venezuela. Okay, and it's just the devil being the devil, man, just being a bully. Okay, and it's just going to show you, just to show you that these devils are doing what they want. All right, the American government is just blatantly doing what the hell it wants, which it's been doing, and now it's just out in the open now. Okay, so let's play this.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Nermeen Sheikh with Amy Goodman in Santa Fe.
The Washington Post is reporting U.S. Special Operations helicopters and B-52 strategic bombers have been spotted flying less than 90 miles off the coast of Venezuela. Meanwhile, President Trump's authorized the CIA to carry out lethal covert operations inside Venezuela. The U.S. is also continuing to strike what they say are suspected drug boats in the Caribbean, despite growing questions over the legality of the strikes.
Stunning development, the U.S. Admiral who commands military forces in Latin America, Alvin Halsey, is stepping down early from his post as head of U.S. Southern Command, reportedly because he had concerns about the U.S. attacking boats in the Caribbean. Halsey is the first African-American commander of SOUTHCOM. Earlier this week, President Trump was questioned by a reporter about U.S. military operations in the Caribbean.
So you got certain admirals, military leaders that are stepping down. Because this devil, he's just doing too much. What he's doing now, is just being a straight out tyrant, man. Just being a straight out asshole in the earth. And you have particular leaders that are just stepping down. They're not taking those orders, man, because this doesn't make any sense. What these devils are doing, man. Blowing up speedboats, doing airstrikes on speedboats. This is crazy, man. And they push this BS like it's like they're stopping, here it is, millions of tons, okay, of drugs come in, okay, on boats. But you saying blowing up a few speedboats is deterring, all right, or curtailing the drug problem in America, man. Get the hell out of here. All right. And the CIA, okay, they're the overlords, okay, of these cartels. These cartels answer to the CIA. Okay? So this whole narrative, as if they're so concerned about the drug problem in America. No one benefits more off, okay, the drug sales, okay, than Esau Edom. All right, so let's let this play.
Mr. President, on Venezuelan boats, I want to ask you, why not have the Coast Guard stop them, which it is empowered by law to do? This way you can confirm who's on the boat and ensure that they're doing what you suspect.
Because we've been doing that for 30 years, and it has been totally ineffective. They have faster boats. Some of these boats are seriously, they're world-class speedboats, but they're not faster than missiles. But we've been trying to do that for years, and so much of the drugs, 25–30%, would come in through the seas.
What's the next step?
So now he's saying that the boats that they got are fast, the Coast Guard can't catch them. So now Venezuela has boats that can't be caught by the Coast Guard, but they're not faster than missiles, man. And that just Esau being an asshole, man, and the devil. Okay.
In this war on cartels, and are you considering options? Are you considering strikes on land?
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control.
We're joined now by David Cole, professor in law and public policy at the Georgetown University Law Center. He's the former national legal director at the ACLU. His new piece in the New York Review of Books about Trump's bombing of boats in the Caribbean is titled Getting Away with Murder. To the program, David Cole, if you could just start out by responding to these attacks and lay out your argument in the New York Review of Books piece, Getting Away with Murder.
Sure. We have the power and the authority to make drug smuggling a crime. We have the power and the authority to interdict boats that are bringing drugs into this country. We have the power and the authority to try people. If they're convicted by a jury, they can then be sentenced to a period of time in prison. What we do not have authority to do, what we do not have any legal authority to do, is to just execute people from the skies without any evidence, without any trial, without any showing that they pose some sort of imminent danger to anybody. And yet that's what President Trump is doing. He's taken a metaphor, the war on drugs, and mistook it for an actual war, and is now engaged in premeditated execution of civilians. We're not at war. No one even heard of this organization in Venezuela, Tren de Aragua, until President Trump declared that they were somehow attacking us and justifying his use of military force. So we're not at war. And even if we were at war, people on these boats are civilians. They are not attacking us. And under the international rules that govern armed conflict, you cannot target civilians unless they are actually engaged in hostilities against you, unless they're actually shooting against you. That is not what's going on here. These are sitting ducks, and we are simply engaged in cold-blooded murder.
Now look at these little boats, man. Okay? You got people with fishing boats bigger than this, man. So look at these little boats. Okay? And you dumb, stupid, simple as Americans, okay, or look at this and say, oh, he's stopping drug trafficking. Okay? People have no idea. All right, these little bitty ass boats, man. How much drugs could they smuggle? And like he's saying, even if they are smuggling drugs, there's a process. Okay, you have to apprehend them, found them guilty of, the smuggling, and sentence them, because smuggling drugs doesn't warrant the death penalty. Okay, so this devil has all these laws that he has. All right, within his constitution, okay, or within international law, Okay, because Trump, he's breaking international law and constitutional law. Okay, but then they just throw, oh, it's a war on drugs. Okay, like blowing up 2 or 3 speedboats. Okay, it's gonna stop all the drugs from getting into America. He's gonna go into some more things, man. But I'm looking at these boats and like, come on, nigga. You know, but he can tell the American public anything because they so distracted. Okay, with the food stamps in the hood and you know all these other things that you know he just have his way out here, man. This man is a damn tyrant, man. He's a child. This is childish, man. All right, this is a goddamn child that's in rulership. As the scriptures say, "Woe to thee, old land." If a brother can post that, I think Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 16. Okay.
Of individuals who may or may not be drug smugglers.
So, David Cole, you have actually Republicans as well who are condemning this, like Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul. And I want to ask, what if the situation were reversed, right? What if a foreign country was targeting U.S. ships, saying, without giving evidence that these were drug smuggling ships, and saying that their intelligence operations are now operating covertly in the United States, and there is, and at least at this point, some 27 people have been killed. What do you feel those in the United States can do to enforce the law? This is about the rule of law. It looks like Trump is imminently going to attack Venezuela. I don't know if this is divert attention from the possibility of the release of the Epstein files, but he has so upped the ante here.
No, absolutely. And, there is a problem of drug smuggling across the Canadian border from the United States to Canada. But does that give Canada the right to start executing Americans who it believes might be engaged in smuggling drugs? Absolutely not. And if Canada did that to Americans, we would be up in arms. We would be essentially treating that as an act of war and an unprovoked act of war. So this is under domestic law, it's murder. Under international law, it's a war crime. It's great that Rand Paul is standing up against it, but we should all be standing up against it. The notion that the President of the United States can order premeditated murder of individuals who do not pose any sort of threat, who are not shooting at us, are not attacking us, is completely outrageous. And, what troubles me is that, by and large, it has barely caused a ripple. A lot of things that Trump has done are deeply disturbing, weaponizing the Justice Department, pardoning the folks who were involved in January 6th, cutting off aid to all kinds of needy people around the world and here at home. Those are outrageous. But there's a difference when you start killing human beings without any process whatsoever. We have a death penalty in this country, but the death penalty can only be imposed, first of all, after a long and rigorous procedure to make sure that you haven't gotten the wrong person. And secondly, it can only be imposed where the defendant is convicted of murder. These individuals who have now been sent to the bottom of the sea by this president, if they were tried, at most would face a sentence of some period of years. There would be no death penalty authorized under the Constitution for these individuals, even assuming they're guilty. And yet President Trump is just taking the law into his own hands, turning a metaphor into an actual war, and now suggesting that he's going to authorize the CIA to use lethal force within Venezuela. It really just a completely outrageous action, and it's very disturbing to me that there's not more outrage within the Senate, within the House, and within the American people.
Well,
All right, because the Senate, the House, all right, they all bought and paid for. You see, this is the type of tyranny that's coming to the American streets. Okay, this is what they want. They're gonna hold law in the streets of America. The same thing that they're doing in Gaza or in Venezuela. Okay, they've done in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's coming to a city near you. Okay, the same tyrant that the rest of the world experiences with the American government, where their tyranny is coming home. Okay, it's finna perform in the living room. All right, and the brother got these precepts. The water to you brothers posting the precept. This is Yahweh's will and testament. All right. This is Ecclesiastes 10:16. It says, "Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child and thy princes eat in the morning." And this is what we're seeing, a child in rulership. This very child is what the devil is on, man. Okay, you look at how this man runs the earth. It's very childish, man. Okay, this man, puts, poison in everything. Okay, everything is an experiment to him. The juice, the formula. Okay, because a child is very experimental, man. And this is how this man rules the earth. He's very experimental, man, at the cost of lives, man. Okay, the cost of suffering and poverty. You see? Fracking oil, just blow the earth up to get to oil. He's childish, man. Everything he does is a very childish overtone to it, experimental. He doesn't care about consequences. Okay, testing missiles every goddamn where, letting their radiation just go into the atmosphere. Okay, the residue of the missile just go into the ocean. He doesn't give a damn about consequences or recoil when it comes to anything, man. All right, so this is a damn child that's in power. Okay, with all this technology and weaponry, man, he has the mind of a child. Okay, this is another one. All right, this is brother Yahweh's will and testament, wisdom of Solomon 2:11. It said, "Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth," man. So Esau said, well, if you're weaker than him, you're worthless. If you can't, all right, if he looks at you as inferior, he looks at you as worthless, man, and he's justified in doing what he wants to do because you're weaker. He's superior. Okay, that's his law. Okay, and you Americans, you just wait. Okay, the chickens coming home to roost. Okay, to the streets of America, man. All right, and you gonna be the target. Right now he's getting his rocks off. He's been getting his rocks off throughout the earth, but now he's prepping to bring that back to the house, man. Okay, so let's go here. It's the brother line of Judah. This is Ezekiel 35:6. It said, "Therefore, as I live, said the Lord of power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee." And see, the Lord, all right, is finna make Esau, okay, the target at the end of this thing. Once this devil has run its course, because the Lord is using this devil, all right, as a punishment, okay, to this society, okay, especially, 2/3, going into Jacob's trouble, and then there's gonna come a time, all right, when he gonna be the target, okay, and the Lord's gonna have judgment, all right, rest upon him, okay. So let's let this play some more, all right. But this devil, he's just been on a blood path ever since he came back into power, man. He never set his ass down nowhere. He's always, he's obsessed with blood, man. He's a definition of bloodthirsty, man. He just gets off on being destructive. Okay, so let this play some more.
David Cole, another issue, of course, that people have commented on extensively is that, first of all, Venezuela is neither the main producer nor exporter of drugs to the U.S., which has raised speculation about the motives of Trump targeting Venezuela rather than the countries who are either the biggest producers or exporters. What do you think explains that?
Yeah, no question. This is a political action by the president against Maduro, against a weak country that he feels that he has he's a bully. He's a bully at home. He's a bully overseas. He feels that he can do this without significant pushback from Venezuela, and so he's doing it. It is not about stopping drugs from coming into this country. Drugs continue to come into this country across the border every day in much larger amounts than come on speedboats from Venezuela. This is about his flexing muscle, acting the bully that he is. But again, it is also about him committing homicide. There is a federal felony statute that makes it a crime to engage in homicide on the high seas, and that is what is happening. The other thing I'll say about it is it's deeply concerning that the military is going along. If this recent commander of Southcom stepped down because of concerns, that's good. But what about all the other military people who are engaged in this action, which violates the most basic principles of the laws of war, which they are trained in and which they are obligated not to follow orders when they're ordered to do something that is blatantly illegal?
David Cole, two quick final questions. One, isn't the former Philippine president, Duterte, before the International Court on trial for doing exactly the same thing, murdering alleged drug traffickers?
Yeah, and President Trump has immunity from criminal prosecution in the United States because the Supreme Court gave it to him. He does not have immunity from international prosecution, and nor do those individuals who have participated in these murders.
And he does have immunity. All right. But you just told him, and there's another thing. So Trump has immunity to where he can't be prosecuted in America. Okay, this is why Trump has made the statement like, look, we're going to do what needs to be done. We'll worry about, all right, the lawsuits later on. Because every time he making these moves, they say, well, you can't do this, this illegal, this law, that law. Trump told him, look, we'll worry about the lawsuit later on. We got to do what got to be done. Okay? So he just has, he's invincible. All right? The American law doesn't pertain to Donald Trump. Okay? And it's the elites, okay, that have propped him up and gave him this power because the elites need a dictator, okay, to get done what they want to get done, to make this drastic change from the old world to the new world. They need a dictator. So Trump has been empowered as a dictator, and you people still talking about this law and that law, and he can't do this. Well, he doing it. And you saying what he can't do, and he doing what he want to do. You see? And you keep, trying to be this, this master lawyer, trying to be this political attorney. That shit, Trump ain't studying that shit, man. Okay? He know he's been given, all right, complete, authority. Just as the devil Stephen Miller said, all right, he has what? Preliminary authority, which is complete authority, man. Okay? And we're seeing it, all right, being acted out, man. Okay? So all these little law books and violations, you can throw that out the book. Okay? That's a waste of time even bringing it up. This nigga don't care. Okay? And it's only going to get worse.
They can be tried in international tribunals, and they should be.
And finally, you have Pam Bondi, the chief enforcer of the law in this country, the U.S. Attorney General. As we move into a segment now on No King's Day, comparing how the U.S. is dealing with these so-called alleged drug traffickers who they haven't presented evidence of before they kill, to Antifa, and saying that they are going to deal with Antifa in exactly the same way. I mean, this is a key point, that they are going to take out Antifa as they're bombing these boats and killing people. Your final comment as a constitutional lawyer on what this means, especially as we move into what could be the largest protest across the country in U.S. history.
Well, I think this is an opening wedge, right? You start by targeting the vulnerable. You start by acting overseas. You start by going after immigrants, and then you turn it on your own people. And we've already seen him turning the military on his own people in Los Angeles, in Washington, D.C., in Chicago, in Portland. He is turning the military on his own people. And the rationale that he offers for being permitted to kill people without any trial, without any process, on allegations, it does not stop at the borders. And when you have the Attorney General suggesting that similar tactics are going to be used against our own people, that demonstrates the slippery slope that we are on. And I think, you know, the most important thing we can do in stopping that slippery slope is go out on No King's Day, is show this.
Yeah, which they went out. All right, but you know, what is a protest gonna do? Okay, to a goddamn madman with all this military might. Okay, so let's go here. I got another video kind of going to how now you have, all right, these certain generals, okay, and military leaders, okay, they are just dipping out, okay, and showing you that the devil is a hypocrite. Let's get this real quick. Now you had, this was back in, say 6 years ago, so about 2019, maybe, okay, but you had 20 tons of cocaine found on JP Morgan Chase cargo ship. Okay, so let's play this. Let me see. Ain't got no sound on it. Go back to the go back to the article. All right, so let's just go here and we bring this up. All right, with JP Morgan and Chase now. All right, one of the biggest banks in the world. All right, but it says in 2019, U.S. authorities seized nearly 20 tons of cocaine from the cargo ship MSC Guyana in Philadelphia, while the vessel was operated by Swiss-based Mediterranean shipping company. All right, a fund managed by JP Morgan Chase asset management arm, all right, was the owner. Okay, and you don't think that JP and Chase knew that those drugs was on there 20 tons? Okay, 80,000 pounds of cocaine. You see? And it says the U.S. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents discovered the cocaine with an estimated street value of $1.3 billion after boarding the ship on June 17, 2019. The seizure was the largest in the CBP's history, Customs and Border Protection. Okay, and that's just one. And these big shipments come in every day. You know, and these Edomites are the biggest profiteers, okay, of the drug business, man. All right, but you still have a simple as American think that Trump blowing up, okay, a few speedboats, okay, is putting a dent and drug trafficking, and they have a real concern about, you know, the drug problem in America, man. All right, the earth has an Edomite problem. Okay, not you know, every other problem, you know, that we can go to in the earth stems from an Edomite problem. Okay, the war, the drugs, the violence, okay, the corruption, alphabet, okay, the disorder in family, everything goes back to an Edomite problem. Okay, that's the problem that the earth has, man. If brother can get that too, some rock 10 and 10 and Revelation 11 and 18 Bible shots. So let's let this play, you know, because it's a lot of these military leaders that are stepping down, you know, and like I said, you're gonna get a lot of mutiny, okay, which these military, all right, officials, okay, and leaders, okay, and soldiers that's gonna stand down. You know, they're not gonna comply, all right, because the devil, he's gonna enter into another level of cruelty, man. Okay, so let's let this play.
Laugh, don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room.
On September 30th, Colonel Douglas Krugman resigned his post after serving 24 years in the Marine Corps under 4 different presidents. He said he could no longer take an oath to serve under a commander-in-chief who treats the Constitution like a suggestion. Writing, quote, this president acts as though one election makes 236 years of constitutional order irrelevant. Instead of trying to work within the Constitution or to amend it, President Trump is testing how far he can ignore it.
Yeah, this seems to be an alarming pattern, doesn't it? Military leaders are just quitting left, right, and center, not quietly, not at the end of long tours. They're quitting now, some of them in protest. And that tells us everything about the current state of affairs in the United States.
Morality is very much a personal choice. It's shaped by society. It's shaped by religious beliefs. But for me, the pardon on his first day of his second term of the January 6th rioters, insurrectionists, was a moral line for me. The oath is to defend the Constitution. That group of people tried to storm the Capitol. We're chanting for the death of elected leaders, and we're trying to keep our Congress from performing its constitutional role. So his choice on his inauguration day was first step that week that led to me to decide by that Friday I was going to retire from the military this year.
Just recently, Admiral Alvin Halsey, head of the U.S. Southern Command, stepped down early amid tensions over controversial boat strikes and operational direction that, if you ask the White House, well, they'll just give you a different answer every day on the details of these operations. Hence the alarm bells from inside our military.
New this morning, the military commander overseeing the Pentagon's escalating attacks on boats off Venezuela's coast, that he is retiring. This is barely a year into his role, his time in that role. And one source tells CNN that tensions had been simmering for weeks between Admiral Alvin Halsey and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and that Hegseth did not believe the admiral was moving aggressively enough to take on and target alleged drug traffickers in the Caribbean. There have been at least 6 U.S. strikes on boats, alleged drug boats in the Caribbean. The latest one disclosed just yesterday. Some of the crew on board that boat are believed to have survived that strike. Also this week, President Trump confirmed that he is now authorizing the CIA to operate covertly inside of Venezuela, linked to all of this. But he did stop short of saying that the intent is regime change. Venezuela's president disagrees.
Oh, great. A request for a new video. Now to rely on 1,000 people to get it done. Or you can just use Riverside and do it yourself.
Hamas?
Never before had any previous government, since the CIA has existed, publicly said that it was sending the CIA to kill, to overthrow, and to destroy countries.
And following that, Marine Colonel Doug Krugman formally resigned after 24 years of service. He, on the other hand, well, did not beat around the bush, citing deep concerns about what the country and the military are becoming under this administration. He explicitly pointed to Trump's disregard for constitutional norms, the use of emergency powers, and the very partisan address that he delivered in front of defense officials. He said he could no longer serve a chain of command that disrespects the oath.
On September 30th, Colonel Douglas Krugman resigned his post after serving 24 years in the Marine Corps under 4 different presidents.
Yeah, so you have, the breaking of ranks, and this is what these devils, want anyway, because they don't want anyone, all right, that opposes what they want to do moving forward. See, Esau finna get on some real wickedness, man. Okay? And these guys that have been there for decades, all right, are like, look, this is too much. What they're doing abroad and what they planning on doing, all right, here, this is too much. Okay, so they want to, all right, get rid of these, all right, these patriotic, all right, these leaders that are loyal to the Constitution. They want to get rid of them anyway. Okay, and they want to bring in some Du Bois. It's just going to be about pure wickedness, man. I think you had even certain of them technocrats, okay, swearing to the military. All right, and see, this is why they want to incorporate AI as well, because AI is not going to disobey, okay, an order, okay, from up top. The AI doesn't have any emotions, okay, or memories. You see. So let's go here. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse 10. This is Yahweh's will and testament. It said, the physician cutteth off a long disease, and he that today is a king, tomorrow shall die. Okay. So this devil is a long disease that has been running rampant in the earth. Esau is a disease that has plagued the earth. And Yahweh, their physician, is coming to cut off their disease, man. And it's going to be in one day when this devil is a king, and tomorrow, all right, he's in captivity, man. Hey, one day, all right, one day is going to change, okay, everything, man. America going to be destroyed in an hour, okay? The militaries of the earth going to be obliterated, all right? So this devil is going to go from being this tyrannical king in the earth, okay, to the lowest slave, okay, in the kingdom of Yahweh, man. The Lord's finna destroy this man's rulership. Okay. So this is what this devil, all right, you people, you still thinking that you have some type of democracy. Okay. You think you gonna study, all right, the law of the Constitution, and none of that matters, man. He doesn't care about that. Okay, that's gone. The Constitution, that was the old world. Okay, he's transitioning into the new world. All right, let's get this. I want to see if I can find it real quick. Give me a minute. All right. Tech giants swear into the military. I want to see. Yep. So let's get this real quick, and we'll get the last few precepts. But yeah. So, like I was saying, he wants, these certain generals that have been there, because these men have influence, and and they will hinder what these devils want to do. Okay. So they want these, these veterans and these, these 4-star generals and, these different admirals and colonels, they want them to quit and resign. All right. Because they ain't finna do some wickedness, man. And this is why they incorporate more AI into the military. Okay. It says in June 2025, it said 4 executives from tech companies, including Meta, Palantir, and AI were sworn into the U.S. Army Reserve as lieutenant colonels. Okay, you see that? It says the program called the Army's Executive Innovation Corps is a part-time initiative to help modernize the military by having these executives advise on technology and innovation. Okay, it said these executives are skipping traditional basic training, and their roles are focused on using their expertise in areas like AI and commercial technology. Okay, so you have these tech, giants that have been sworn into what? The military, okay, as an innovation corps to incorporate what? AI. Okay, so that's why Pete Hegseth talking to them niggas crazy. Nigga, you're fat, cut your beard, you know, handle them niggas any type of way because they want them to quit because they want to bring in these techs. They want to bring the tech in, man. Okay. You see, and they got videos on it. Let me see. Let me see. Did she say someone?
But the U.S. Army just swore in 4 tech executives as lieutenant colonels. The CTO of Palantir, Peter Thiel's company, the CTO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg's company, and OpenAI's chief product officer and former chief research officer, the company belonging to Sam Altman. These 4 men are all now 1 rank away from a general, second in command for field grade officers. There are 16 ranks lower than a lieutenant colonel, and these 4 untrained civilians just leapfrogged over soldiers who have dedicated their entire career and lives to the U.S. military. Apparently, these men are going to work on targeted projects to help guide rapid and scalable tech solutions to complex problems. A sentence that means absolutely nothing, because clearly this is just a way of giving these companies access to top secret information without them having to go through any pesky background checks. And if that doesn't scare you, it really should. Because we already know that Palantir is building a massive centralized database, using much of the information they acquired from Doge, Elon Musk's foray into the American government. These billionaire tech bros are compiling lists of our most sensitive information, our tax records, medical data, bank accounts, social security information, immigration status. This administration is allowing them to build the infrastructure for techno-feudalism, authoritarianism in the form of data and surveillance. It is a horrifying and blatant conflict of interest that harms the safety and security of all Americans. There should not be this much overlap between private tech and the U.S. government, certainly not between private tech and the U.S. military. I do not know how asleep at the wheel Congress can possibly be, but they should be shutting this down immediately, and every single one of us should be demanding that they do it. The people who are using the government against you are now taking over military authority. The corruption is calculated and staggering, and I can only hope our veterans and active duty military are paying incredibly close attention. And now that you know, you should be talking about it.
There you have it, man. You know, and I didn't know they was sworn in with that high of a rank. All right, so they're 1 rank away from being generals. Okay, which means they have the authority to they mean these tech companies now have the authority to sign off on airstrikes, on mobilizing troops. You see, on sending military assets here and there. Now the tech companies, okay, have that authority now. Okay, yeah, I'll say this: you talking about your rights and your constitution? That's dead, man. These men just, you know, went past all the protocol, no basic training. Okay, lieutenant colonel. Okay, so this is where things are headed. All right, and see, they want to link you to the digital ID. Okay, which ultimately going to be the CHIP. But see, if they're able to do that, then now it's easy for them to send a drone to where you at because you're on their database. It's easy for them to send a robot to where you at. to come apprehend you on their database. Okay, it makes it more efficient for them, okay, to control and track, okay, and have more, all right, oppression, okay, within government, man. All right, so let's get a few precepts. Let's see, brothers. All right, this is the brother Corner Watch, GMS Prayer Always Hope for Elect. This is Sirach 10:3. It says, an unwise king destroyed his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited, man. All right, and this is the rulership of an unwise king, Esau Edom. And he's only plotting to destroy. You know, he only plotting and scheming, all right, to destroy, man. All right, Esau Edom went to war with everybody on earth, and the last people on the menu is the American citizens themselves, man. Okay, but see, there's a righteous government that's getting ready to come to the earth, man. All right, and read verse 4. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over one that is profitable, man. And we in that due time. Okay, well, the Lord's finna transition, okay, the kingdom from Esau into Jacob. Okay, and before then, the devil, he's gonna go out in a blaze of fire. You know, he's gonna go out and just in complete destruction mode. You know, he's gonna go out in the warpath, man. You see. So now, let's get this. I think the brother posted earlier. You know, and we'll end it here. This the brother Shabbat Yahweh 777 Revelation. All right, 11:18. It says, and the nations were angry, and their wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shouldst give reward unto thy servants, the prophets. Okay, I don't know if we let. I know it usually don't let you post the rest of that. Yeah, I might have to go get it. But we'll end it with that. But yeah, for some reason, never let you post, you know, the whole Revelation 11:18. So let's go here to Revelation 11:18. All right, this is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 18, and it says, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come. All right, the judgment of the Lord, okay, is upon this place, man. You know, and the nations, okay, are pissed. All right, because this is what they've been led to. Okay, these nations have been led into this shit show. Okay, that Esau calls a government, man. Okay, it said that they should be judged, and that thou shalt give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth, man. Okay, and that's Esau. All right, so this man's destructive nature is finna be cut off. And Yahushua is coming to end, all right, the tyranny of this devil, man. Okay, and he's gonna judge these nations for being in cahoots with him. Okay, and all of them going to captivity, man. And the prophets, okay, and the rest of the 1/3 are gonna be rewarded, man. You know, with immortality and rulership under Yahushua. Okay, so you know that's the point. You know, just want to go into that, touch on that this morning. You know, Lord will, you know, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again, and give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful Shalom.